You ever get a feeling like things are just happening? Not that those things are the worst that could happen, but the more they do happen with no clear sense of direction as to what they may be leading to, the more you question how worthwhile it is to try and enjoy these things happening. They begin to feel stale and mundane, and you find yourself questioning if they even have any purpose for taking place. Well, don't mean to sound overly dramatic, but after this fourth installment of She-Hulk, that's basically where I'm at. After gritting my teeth and doing my damnness to shine some light on the few minor positives I noticed from last week, I'm now essentially wondering if it was worth bothering to. I understand this is a comedy show, or at least attempting to be one, but there's plenty of ways to incorporate humor without making your audience question if they should be taking anything seriously or not. A kind supporter of my channel, Schofield Studios, brought up a great comment in a previous video about how a show like The Boys, which is not labeled or advertised as a comedy at all, is still astoundingly more successful in its execution of humor than She-Hulk. It doesn't matter that they're two vastly different shows, it's still accurate to say one clearly understands how to write comedy more than the other. This show comes off with the tone of an unsuccessful Saturday morning cartoon and has created an atmosphere for itself where it's incredibly difficult to care about the story because, well, things are just happening. Now, I understand some people may think, but it's only the fourth episode. Obviously, they can't give away everything yet. They have to keep building up the story, right? Right. What story? I get this series may be taking more of an episode per episode adventure approach to some degree, but as of now, if you were to ask me, hey, what's the show building up towards? I'd have fuck all to say in response. I'm not asking for us to have all the details too early on, but at 4 episodes into a 9-episode season, I think it's more than fair to say we should have an inkling of where this is all going. The most we have to go off of is the piss-poor introduction of the Wrecking Crew attempting to get her blood, and one of the dates she goes on in this episode is a creep, more of a creep than the other guys in the show, who refers to her as a specimen. My hope is that since the show is cool with bringing the Incredible Hulk storyline and characters back into the spotlight, then perhaps the villain going after her is Samuel Stearns, aka the Leader. He was the scientist that was helping Bruce study his blood in the Incredible Hulk and ended up getting Bruce's blood in one of his wounds. Twinsies! Which then began to mutate him, and that was the last we ever saw of him. But that's about the most optimism I can bring to the table here for what's to come. The plot for this particular episode revolves around yet again finding each and every way they can to demean, demoralize, and degrade men. Even Wong. Now, I'm aware that Wong has brought some comedic relief to a good portion of his appearances, but that's simply because of writers using his personality in clever ways to inject humor. Whether it be his short, witty responses because of his standoffish demeanor, or his comical reactions to being unaccustomed to what we're accustomed to, very much like Thor, they've worked off of what organically fits for the character. Let's explain how they don't do so here. The majority of this episode is dedicated to the legal pursuit of a low-level magician named Donnie Blaze, who's using a sling ring to create portals for a wow factor at his shows. Turns out, Donnie used to be a student at Karmitage, and I guess stole his ring when he left? Because I have a hard time believing they'd let him keep that. Sounds harmless enough, right? But upon Donnie using the ring, he sends a reject from the Jersey Shore to another dimension, and eventually she ends up at Wong's house, which leads the sorcerer to request the assistance of She-Hulk. They then go to court, and nothing gets resolved. By the way, why wasn't Wong arrested for aiding Abomination? That's literally the whole reason for his exit in the last episode. Anyway, Donnie then uses the ring once more at a show, but this time lets out a slew of tiny flying demon creatures. He goes to get Wong's help, Wong goes to get She-Hulk's help, there's a smidgen of what I guess can be called action, and then She-Hulk carries a man off to bed. What the absolute fuck is going on here? Let me be specific. I'm more than willing to suspend my disbelief for this stuff. I mean, we're talking about a goddamn superhero show. But are they really expecting us to believe that any of this is plausible? Given the potential danger that comes along with an inexperienced sling ring user, why would Wong not just go directly to the source and take the ring back himself? I can't even imagine he'd find it worthwhile to tell Jen about the situation, let alone request her aid. It's also made obnoxiously clear that Wong doesn't fully understand the functionality of our legal system, so what the hell are you expecting her to do, my guy? Then fast forward to what I'm guessing they consider to be the climax of the episode, and once again Wong seems to need She-Hulk's help for who honestly knows why at this point. The little flying goblins let loose by Donnie Blaze don't seem to pose much of a threat. Wong is the fucking Sorcerer Supreme. Why would he even need assistance in that situation? And even if he did, why would She-Hulk be his first choice as opposed to another sorcerer perhaps? What specifically does she bring to the table that helps resolve that issue quicker? Nothing. It was just a horrible excuse to try and make her look like a badass. But like I said earlier, it's not just Wong. Basically, all men get the shit treatment here. Another focus of the episode spotlights Jen's dating life. As you could probably guess at this point, every date she goes on is a nightmare. Each guy is shown to be sleazy and shallow, and even the quote-unquote nice guy she takes home and sleeps with is proven to be no different than the rest when the following morning he realizes that the girl he got so well acquainted with the night before looks like an entirely different person to who he woke up to. So he leaves. What else is funny is the depiction of what she's attracted to. Apparently, you just need to be a therapist in perfect shape? Do the people who wrote this seriously believe that it's such a rare thing for men to ask women questions about themselves and are so self-absorbed? Do they seriously think women never act like that? All in all, it truly feels like at this point, the people making this are more about pushing their own specific agenda and less focused on making a well-thought-out and executed half-hour comedy about superheroes. The only thing I can say I'm still looking forward to is the upcoming edition of Daredevil to the series. But I'm also not going to let that get the better of me because even though I have all the faith that Charlie Cox will still bring his A-game to the role, I'm terrified that the writers are just going to try and make a joke out of him. But that's just about all I wanted to say about this episode. Of course, let me know what you thought in the comments, and then don't forget there's a super easy way to show that you enjoyed this and want more. It's just hitting that thumbs up and subscribe button. Pretty simple, ain't it? Alright, cool. Bye.